So today, inspired by the Budget Jedi's diorama of Wicket meeting Princess Leia on Endor, I decided to do the same type of scene because, as he pointed out, not many people have done that particular moment, and as a kid I always liked Return of the Jedi the best, even though maybe not objectively the best film, possibly still my favourite. So I've got this cool little speeder bike from the Power of the Force line that explodes apart when you push the little backpack part. So you can simulate it crashing into a tree. Oh wow, there's spider webs on that! There's literally spider webs in there, so I'll clean that out. So I haven't done that gimmick for a good couple decades. I've got that, and I've got the little speeder bike pilot, and I've got Wicket. These are all from Power of the Force, and I haven't got Princess Leia in Endor gear, but what I have got is I've got standard Attentive 4 Leia from New Hope, and I've got Bouche Leia from Return of the Jedi with the removable helmet part, which I think maybe looks a bit closer, but you know, we'll see, because I've also got Luke's poncho, which is ridiculously huge, but I don't know, I might be able to use, you know, part of that to make her look a bit more like the outfit. I'm not entirely sure. And I haven't got it on the table, but I've also got a Lego Endor Trooper helmet, which I'm going to be using. And then, I can't remember if she has a backpack in the scene, but I've got this little Star Wars backpack thing, so I'll maybe put that in. All I've got for the base is I've got this piece of polystyrene, which polystyrene is always good for doing model making if you just need like a base to push things into, because you can't recycle it anyway, so might use that side because there's like a little ridge in here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it up to be the base for the Endor scene. So I've got proper, you know, testers, model paints and things in all sorts of colours, but I'm not going to waste those on something like this because it's just a quick little diorama. So I'm going to use instead just some acrylic paints. Again, I'm not even going to use my good acrylic paints. These are all, you know, just a few dollars a piece, pre-mixed colours. If I was going to do any canvas painting, then, which I do, you know, it's just that not especially good. I would use more basic colours and mix my own from there. But I'm not even bothering to use a palette or anything. I'm just going to squirt some colours on here. So I've got some just raw umber, a turquoisey colour, because I didn't really have any green, because again I would normally sort of mix my own green, and I don't want to do that with my good paints, so there's not much left in this tube, so I'm going to see if I can... Yeah, there we go. This is a bit turquoise, so that's why I've added the yellow, to try and kind of make that a bit more regular green. And I think it's going to come out a little bit neon, which is why I've added some of the raw umber. And that's coming out quite nicely, because I'll probably blob some more in there. And I'm just going to try and cover the whole base. But it'll also give it a little bit of texture. And with some areas are going to be a bit darker because I've not mixed it really thoroughly, which I think is good, because that'll look like a bit more like dappled light coming down through treetops. Just so it's not a big block of really noticeable white. I'm not going to bother with the other sides because it really only has to look good from the front. Okay, and I will just let that dry. Okay, so it's not quite dry yet, but I think it's sort of close enough. So that's going to be our base. And all I've got here is, I went for a walk and just grabbed a whole bunch of sticks and leaves and bark and rocks and things from the ground for free. So I was going to use like a cardboard tube out of a piece of out of a wrapping paper tube and put it along here to make the log I'm going to have them sitting on like in the movie, but instead I actually found this, which is pretty much the exact right size, and I'm just going to put a light on there. Yeah, it's pretty much the exact right size and shape. So I'm going to go and I'm going to I'm going to see if I can just break it over my knee to get it to the right length. Otherwise, I'll just use a little handsaw. And I've just trimmed the end off with a handsaw. I like having the log up a bit like that. This is going to be the centerpiece of the display. So I'm thinking I either want to have the speeder bike in front or behind. Either way, I'm going to sort of tuck it into a corner, maybe up along the side here. So probably putting the log about here is going to give me the best result. Because as soon as I've got the log sitting how I want it, I am just going to go ahead and stick some of these bits I've collected that will look like trees kind of going up like that. I've got it sitting how I want it now, but up here won't attach very nicely. So I'm just going to get a bit of wood glue and just put a little blob on here. This will dry transparent. And now you put a little bit up here. So now I'm just going to take my other little rocks and bits and pieces and just put them around. So now I'm just going to take my other little rocks and bits and pieces and just put them around. I tried to grab a variety of different sticks. The nice thing about Australia in the summer is that everything dries out in the sun, gets very harshly baked, and I'm just going to push them in like that, and they should go fine just standing up in the bits of foam. Just sticking them in where I think they look alright. So I'm thinking that looks kind of okay, but I want to get more sort of foliage and greenery over all this stuff. So, because it sort of looks a bit bare, it looks like just a whole bunch of things sticking up in the air to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a bit of glue across here. I'm just going to grab a bunch of bits like this and just grind them up in my hands to make sort of, because these bits they crumble very easily, so I'm just crumbling them up, trying to avoid making a mess on the floor. So you can see it's just a handful of bits and pieces in there now, and I'm just going to scatter them. Just trying to sort of fill in this little area down here. So I'm thinking I'm going to have my speeder bike over in this little area, or the trooper at least. I don't know if the bike's really going to fit in the diorama very well, but I might put it sort of hidden behind the trees in the back. We'll see. Well, I'll figure out what looks good, or what I think looks alright when I kind of finish building this main part. Because the main thing is going to be Leia and Wicket on there. And I've got, you know, plenty of bigger ones left over, which I think would make really good trees, which I might use for another indoor scene later on, or I don't have enough Ewoks to do the Ewok village or anything like that, but you know, maybe you could use them for Dagobah. So there's what I have so far, and I'm just going to let that. Here's Princess Leia for size comparison. So I'm going to let that all dry, and then we'll come and put the figures in. And this is the finished diorama. I actually went in and I pulled out some of the bits of tree from in there. I went a bit crazy with the trees because it was a lot of fun just sticking them in, and it was getting a bit busy. I also, originally I had set up over by where the speeder bike is now, I had a speeder bike pilot, scout trooper, but, well, I took some photos of the original version, and I'll show you. I thought it was a bit funny, because there's that bit in Return of the Jedi where he just pops out from behind the tree to confront Leia and Wicket, and I always sort of thought, what's he doing there? They're in the middle of nowhere. Which you'll see when I show you the picture. But I thought, you know, I want to get the speeder bike in there, fits across there. I pulled out a couple of other things, and I think it just generally looks a bit better. So I'll come in, because the lighting's not great in my corridor, I'm holding a torch to light it up, so I've got to try and do the focus with my other hand. So I ended up using the Bausch layer with Luke's poncho, and I think that it turned out surprisingly well, actually. Of course, the Power of the Force one's holding a thermal detonator, but I just blue tacked the Lego helmet over it. You can just kind of see it tucked in there, but because the Lego helmets are roughly in scale with the 3 3/4 inch figures, as long as they're not too stylized, they kind of work.